Darren Carter for the Premiership. The Premiership!
Welcome to another edition of Carter's Corner, where we preview the upcoming Blues fixture. A midweek trip to the Den awaits Blues this week. Of course, 2/3 of the season down now, 17 games remaining, and Blues go on the road back-to-back games Wednesday and Saturday this week. Carts, thanks for joining us again. We have to allude to it. We start off with the last result. We're not going to labour on this one too long. Disappointing home defeat to Luton. I think it's fair to say that everybody acknowledges we fell well short of the standards we set ourselves, and quite simply, there has to be a response at the Den.
Yeah, it certainly does. I think everybody has obviously had their opinion over the last few days, and rightly so. You know, as supporters and people who care about the club, we want to see, you know, the team moving in an upward direction. And I think everyone obviously agrees that the performance Saturday is not going to get us there. So it has to be a response. You know, there has to be some fight. There has to be some passion, and a realisation now that we are in a real dogfight. You know, we've got to get results on the board, have to get points quickly, and not allow teams to sort of get away from us. So it's a tough place to go. I think, you know, obviously no fans being there at the Den will help, but you know, Millwall are a strong team, and if there was one fixture that you do have to roll your sleeves up in, it's certainly going to be Wednesday night.
As I say, there are still 17 games left to play. It's a third of the season, so enough points up for grabs for us to turn it around. And in a week where we go on the road twice, we've been markedly better away from St Andrews. Can you put your finger on why that is? Because I think a lot of us are scratching around, wondering why.
Yeah, it's something I've thought long and hard about, and obviously being in the game and being a player for a long time now, you know, sometimes these things you can scratch your head and think all day that, but for some reason, I think it's just subconsciously now at St Andrews, because we've had such a bad spell there for, you know, an extended period of time now. We haven't been able to get results. I think it is just a subconscious thing, and the only way you change that is by showing that fight, showing that desire, gritting your teeth, and changing it round, turning it round. So as far as home games now and our home form, I think it is just all about grinding out one result and trying to turn that corner. As you say, away from home, we've looked a lot better. You know, maybe again, different surroundings. You know, on the road, sometimes you can be better. I think that's, you know, fair to say with Millwall this year. Obviously, they've been better on the road as well. Haven't been as good at home. So yeah, sometimes you just can't put your finger on it, you know, for different reasons. But I think certainly for us at the moment is a subconscious thing. We you know, just have that hoodoo, don't we, at St Andrews, and just can't seem to buy a win at the moment.
Yeah, a midweek February in Millwall isn't one for the faint-hearted, as you say, but they followed up their 4-1 win over Sheffield Wednesday with a 2-1 win over Reading. It's back-to-back wins for Gary Rowett's side now for just the second time this season. They went behind in both of those games. They're showing some sort of resilience as a group of players to turn those performances and results around. They're unbeaten in 6 games as well. And when you look at those 6 games, you beat the likes of Reading and Sheffield Wednesday, but you've also held the likes of Norwich, Watford and Cardiff to draws as well. So everything points to it being a really tough evening on Wednesday.
Yeah, I think they certainly mirror what Gary Rowett is all about. We obviously seen that when he was at the club. They're very organised. They work extremely hard. And, you know, in terms of, you know, you look at them teams, as you mentioned, in this 6-game run that they've got points off and beat. You know, they're very good teams that are up the you know, the top end of the table. So they were a tough nut to crack. You know, they've drawn an awful lot of games, obviously more games than anybody in this league this year, which just goes to show you that, you know, they want to come away from games with at least a point. And when you've got that mentality, it's, you know, it takes you a long way. And, you know, they certainly seem to have a bit of momentum now, and a good team spirit coming from behind in them 2 games shows that they're resilient. So as I mentioned before, this is a real tough game for Blues, and you know, going into it, obviously we need to see a reaction, but ultimately, you know, face the reality that we're coming up against a very good team, and we're going to have to really earn the right on Wednesday night and work extremely hard and match them, because if you don't, you know, they can roll over you.
Yeah, we've spoken about our difficulties at home, but as you say, they've only won 2 of their 14 at the Den all season. It's 1 win in 12 there. They're much better on the road, similarly to Blues. suppose that does give you some reason to be optimistic, given our away record, only 3 defeats on the road all season. Players to watch, players to look out for, Carts. I mean, a little bit of team news. Kenneth Zahor and Michael Kieftenbeld, of course, both injury doubts. Keith pulled a hamstring apparently a couple of weeks back now. No Shane Ferguson, Ryan Leonard or Murray Wallace were led to believe. Jed Wallace has always played well against Blues. Is he one that you've got your eye on, or is it you're looking elsewhere?
Yeah, I think Jeddy's a very good player. Obviously makes things happen in the final third of the pitch and made a real impact at the weekend. Reading himself and Bennett came on, obviously, at half-time. And I listened a little bit to what Gary Rout said after the game. And, he's been sort of not, greatly pleased with how they've started the last few games. And he has had to change the system and change personnel half-time or into the second half. So you'd think that Bennett and Jed Wallace coming onto the field and having that impact on Saturday, that they'd be pushing to start. Both, again, real goal threats, creators as well. And then Matt Smith as well came on and obviously got his goal. Again, a player that we know well from the area, obviously, in his early days at Solihull. So for us defensively, we've really got to be concentrated, be on it, and make sure that when they are attacking, we've got good shape, and just be dogged. We'll have that mentality that we're not going to concede, have a clean sheet mentality, because that's certainly what we're going to need. They have got firepower, but Varson again is a player that he can hit form and has been a bit sporadic in his career, but again a real goal threat. Two wing backs, Malone and Romeo, are also forward-thinking players, getting to good areas, good delivery. So certainly going to be up against it. And I think with their shape, whenever you play a team, you've got wing backs, play 3 in midfield. You do have to be very good with your shape and your organisation.
Cards, we could sit here and talk about tactics and approaches to the games for most of the afternoon, but is it just got to a stage where you want to see a bit of fight and belief from the lads that they can turn it around?
Yeah, certainly. Like you say, you can talk about systems and this and that, but sometimes a good bit of grit and just energy, a real, mindset to go and run harder than the opposition, work harder, get into tackles, win your 1v1 battles all over the pitch. It's pretty simple. When we talk about this game, you can get very detailed, but ultimately, if you don't outwork the opposition, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to come out with a good result. So that's got to be the mindset, as you say. Every player's got to go out there and as I say, look at their 1v1 battle, who they're up against, and say, right, I'm going to outrun him today. I'm going to outbattle him, and just consistently across the pitch. Then, if you've got 8 or 9 doing that, you've got a great chance then of getting a result.
Finally, your personal memories from being at the Den?
Again, very, very good. People ask me about this, and it was a great club to play for. It is a real mentality at that club that it's us against everyone else. It's a really good family community club as well. I know obviously the off pitch stuff and everything, but when you're actually there and playing for them, it is a good club to play for, and playing at the Den, obviously, when fans were in, it's such a daunting place to go. And I found a lot of the time that, in the first 15, 20 minutes of games, you could see opposition weren't quite, there, or weren't quite at it. Again, it's just a mental thing, going there, knowing you're going to get, a real barrage of abuse, should I say. But no, listen, it was it's a great atmosphere to play as a home player, but you take fans away and obviously it is a leveller. So, I'm expecting Blues to go there with a real grit, and hopefully, like I say, match their intensity and their work rate.
We try and be eternal optimists, parts associated with the club, but I asked you for a prediction before, Luton, and I'm going to ask you for one now. We could do with a result. What's Wednesday night going to bring?
I think there'll be a response. I certainly think that the lads will go into the game and show a bit of character. That's what's going to be needed. I look at the squad and think there is real characters in there. They'll know it's a big game and a result is needed. So I would take at least a point there. So I'm going to go 1-1.
Well, full coverage on Blues TV on Wednesday evening. Ollie Klink commentating with Darren Carter himself alongside him. A slightly earlier kickoff time of 7 p.m. on Wednesday night. We hope you can join us, and we hope we can be talking about a positive result before the weekend.
And how fitting that it should be a true blue born and bred who took them there.